Yeah, well, my dad was a diplomat. I lived in many countries. I founded 5 companies in 4 different countries. My first I sold to one listed in NASDAQ. My second, I fundraised in that famous Sand Hill Road in Silicon Valley. Lost everything. So it's been a fun ride. And I founded Tech and Trash when I was living in Barcelona. And I am a biologist. After that, I got a master's in computer engineering. And being a biologist, I know the importance of proper recycling. Today, 8 million tons of plastic make it to the ocean a year. 11% of all the methane in the atmosphere comes from trash. Methane is actually 88 times stronger than CO2 for global warming. And yes, methane is a GHG gas, very important. So again, being a biologist, I know the importance of proper recycling, but I know that this is a failed model because only 6% of all the plastic is actually recycled, which means that 94% of this recycling business is just dysfunctional. That's one thing that we are solving. And another thing that we are solving is that FMCG companies today waste 45 billion per year in failed marketing schemes. And that's basically for us, very simple reason. They have incomplete data set when it comes to knowing what happens to a web product. They know that a product was created in such place, was sold to this place, etc. But after it has been sold, is a total vacuum. They do not know. So we are providing a solution that solves those 2 problems: the ESG problem of products being improperly disposed, improperly recycled, that generates methane, and the second problem that all kinds of marketing schemes that do not work, and $45 billion are wasted each year on that, because you're feeding the computer with incorrect data. In AI, there is an expression that says garbage in, garbage out. And garbage data is one part of garbage data is incomplete data. A data that does not take into account what happens to a product after it has been sold. It's incomplete data. And if you provide it to the computer, it will give you an incomplete result. So, so our team, I think that is really good. Our ESG director, Namdar, has a PhD in microbiology from Imperial College. Sarah, who is joining us here, she was a former global client for Unilever. Our CFO, John, that is always here. You can ask him questions on financials. Has over 20 years acting as CFO for leading companies such as Ernst Young. Jamie, who represents our company in the United States, works for Microsoft, and thanks to him, we became partners, and now we are part of Microsoft for startups, which gave us 155,000. So thank you, Microsoft. And with that, we developed Stipra, which is comprised of an app that captures data, post-sales data, and a smart bin that I will show you a prototype here. I don't know if you can, let me see if I can give it. This is a smart bin that captures data. We using an infrared camera. It has a ultrasound sensor and is able to identify products and to show how many points you were awarded for this. Sarah, I'll let you explain Stipra because I did it very poorly. Nobody knows what it is.
And a 1-minute warning.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Then I'm going to have to do it very quickly and very simply. The consumer app captures the data through the camera mechanism in the phone. So you scan the barcode on your recyclable products and you put them in the bin. You're awarded points as a user on Stipra, and you redeem those points against perks or reward schemes that we offer across the app. And at some point, we'll also be offering a cash reward. Just going back to Al's earlier comment on carrot versus stick, the incentive versus the effort is something we have to think about continuously. So naturally, in order to get people to continue to recycle at scale, we've got to continue to incentivize, because while there's a lot of climate activists out there and those who love to do good, there's also a huge population which we can tap into that need a little bit more motivation. We also have a revenue generating business model. So we have a SaaS model, which is corp.stipra. And that's where we engage with clients.
I am sorry, Sarah, but your time is up. We got to get the gong out.
Go ahead. Go ahead. So we ran out of time. That we tried our best.
No worries, no worries. Let me bring in our other investors here. Jonas, Liliia, Thore, do you wanna take over first? What questions do you and Leanox have for the team?
So I think recycling is super interesting topic in Germany. I think it's very advanced already because we have this recycling of bottles, which is super easily made. In Barcelona, on the other side, I live in the city center, and here you just put the rubbish bags in front of your house, like in front of the door. So every night they're lying on the streets, and then they get picked up, thrown all in one and the same car, and nobody knows what happens with them after. So which type of requirements does the government have to have for the system to work? Or how would we make it work?
We are not solving the entire recycling system. Actually, that will require much more than the investment we're looking for. What we are offering is a solution for companies to be able to say three things. First, we care about the environment, and to that end, we will reward you with points you can trade later for stuff, for perks, if you prove to us that you have disposed of our products in the proper location. So an ESG benefit. The second is the data benefit. And the third, which we have closed a deal with German company Climatic, that I'm sure you know because they got 2 million investment from Cherry Ventures, is the Climatic will certify that each company that is using Stipra is getting X amount of carbon decrease thanks to these products being properly disposed. If at the end, like you said very well, it all ends up in one big fat hole, again, it might actually happen, at least companies and the people can say, we did our part. I don't know if that helps. Then okay, companies are able to get real carbon benefits and to show their customers that they care that their products do not end up inside of the gut of some whale.
And the Stipra bin is under my desk, or is it somewhere in the hall? Like,
no,
a bigger one?
This is a prototype that we have developed. It is functional. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you will see a video of it working. You identify yourself with an NFC card. It shows your name. It shows the name of the product that it finds. It tells you wait for points. It shows you how many points you got. So this is just a prototype. We're looking for funding in part, either or for getting what we already have, which is the app, in order to make it happen, to get more users, or to get Stipra on the garbage bin on the road, because this will be connected to Stipra and will also capture data. And on top of that is free marketing, because it's right there and people think, okay, there is this thing called Stipra and we don't need to spend so much money in advertising. The thing advertises itself. So we're looking for funding for either or for each.
Okay.
I can continue.
Yeah.
First question would be, you elaborate a bit on your B2B play that you want to sell to companies, but my question would be, what's your beachhead? Who's your target customer you're selling to?
Sarah, I'll pass you the baton.
Yeah, thank you. So in terms of the clients that we're approaching for pilot partnerships, they are major FMCG brands. So anything that you would find in the supermarket shelf. These brands have a massive gap in product lifestyle understanding because they have no clue what happens once a product leaves the supermarket shelf. And because we are capturing that consumption data as people are throwing their rubbish in the trash, we can then feed that data back to particular brands that help them either optimize their business on a sales, distribution, or packaging point, but also give them a really good understanding from a geolocation point as to where their products are being consumed or not. Again, having business implications and helps make business decisions. When you have this data at a really large scale, it naturally has a much bigger weighted value against it. So it's much more informative in terms of the business intelligence that comes out of our B2B model. So these companies are super interested in working with us for two reasons. Firstly, because we help them understand their consumer a lot better in terms of consumption behavior. But secondly, going back to Al's point around the ESG calculation, we provide them with an ESG impact based on how their customers have disposed of their products properly. Climatic is a company that we use to do that, but they will pay a pretty penny for the ESG rating as much as they will for the actual consumer data. The ESG is a major issue right now for FMCG companies because they keep getting hauled over the hot coals on a weekly basis for greenwashing, their lack of sustainability credential. So this is a big draw card for them. And I mean, it was only last week that Unilever was struck off in the UK for making sort of incorrect comments around some of their washing detergents. So the issues can be quite big around ESG. So we're helping them solve that problem with a long-term strategy, which can be tracked and measured over time. But equally, we're really filling that knowledge in terms of consumption behavior, which helps optimize their business. So that's what we sell. And the more data we have, the more integrity we have of the data and the more valuable that data will become. So while we start on a subscription base right now for a certain amount of aggregated data monthly, that will naturally increase as our data pool increases and the value of our data points increase with that.
Okay, thank you. But this would actually require that you also kind of build the infrastructure of Streepa, right? Your product. How can you otherwise track the products actually? So you would actually need to scale the infrastructure of it, correct?
We have we use like I said, we are part of Microsoft for Startups. We got 155,000 in cloud credits and right now we have 4 servers running in tandem, and we can scale this really quick. And then the technology is ready, is in place. You feel more than free to download the Streepa and play with it. You will see that it is really high tech. It identifies a product. As soon as you show the barcode, it vibrates and says, okay, product identified, show the next one. It is really a thing of beauty to see. And then and we are working towards getting more people on board, and that has been a challenge. We think that going to schools and maybe the Streepa bin would be a solution for that. Kids. Okay,
that was my question. Basically, the hardware side of things. Where would you place this and position it? And so you said schools. You said schools.
What do you mean, the hardware?
I think he's referring to the bins, Al.
Exactly. The
bins can go to schools, can go to airports, can go to the bins will be really flashy, will be made of wood, and then they will reward people for it. And it will be ideal for restaurants, for places in which you have these ugly garbage bins that offer absolutely nothing. Instead, you will have an eco-friendly wood base, just like this, the one that you see, you can see that is made of bamboo. And then people will be able to spot them, and they realize, okay, a bamboo made one, it's a Streepa bin, and I'll get points if I dispose something inside. And it will be amazing for airports, for shopping centers, for banks. If I go to 2 banks, one has a boring garbage can and another has a Streepa can that rewards me, I would open my account in the second because I will feel that my money is more secure in this high-tech bank.
I don't think you would, because you're not going to go into 2 banks.
Yeah,
I just
well,
want to push. I just want to push back. No one goes into the bank, so you would.
yeah. Well, I'm being, I guess, old-fashioned, but yeah. But I could just download Revolut or Mons or one of those things and be done with it. Yeah, you good point. Yeah.
If I may jump in, guys, truly this does sound like disruptive technology, but I'm not connecting the dots. So, what is the revenue generation model? Who pays for the usage of the data of the app, of whatever intelligence it gives to the end user, and also who pays for the bin? Who buys actually the bin? Is it the same entity? Because I understand that the bin would be also with households, right? Not only within business premises.
It's mostly
can help me
business.
to understand this a bit.
Mostly business. Go ahead, Sarah. Yeah, you were going to answer.
Yeah, so the bit, it might be easy to separate the two to start with. So if we separate the bins and park them here, and we talk about the app in terms of data capture, that's personal data. Like any app, you sign in, you register, and you start using. So we capture all the product data, which is listed underneath who you are, your geolocation, and so forth. The CPG brands that we work with then buy the aggregated data, and they then use that to fund the rewards program that we have in play, which is what each user gets for recycling properly, because they build their points. And they also buy the data itself in terms of, let's just say P&G wanted to know how many households in North London were using Ariel detergent. So we could give them a view on how many, both individual households as well as an aggregated level, are using Ariel detergent and how often. And we can also tell them how many households are using Persil, which is the equivalent Unilever product. So on that side of things, the data provides a lot of opportunity for business growth for our clients, but it also allows them to look at their retailer partnerships in North London to understand their sell-through rate versus what the consumption data is telling them. So it's a really interesting story to start telling. No one else in the world is capturing consumption data like this. So we are filling a gap, and having spent nearly 20 years working in the FMCG space, I can appreciate the value of this data, and I can appreciate the value of understanding that whole consumption life cycle. So that's how we do it. We acquire users by user acquisition campaigns. So in the same way you would go to market and promote the opportunity to earn points for doing something good for the planet, we will get new users through all the media channels available to us. And naturally, with funding, we would then start to invest behind growth marketing into paid media channels to boost it even more. So 20,000 in our database right now. We'd like to catapult that up to a significant volume within the period of 12 to 18 months, because with that growth in user base, we also get the growth in data, which keeps fueling the hunger for these CPG companies to come back and have some of these blank questions answered.
I'll give you a quick example, Liliia. I think that suppose I find 1 million bottles consistently of Coca-Cola Vanilla Edition. I don't know if it exists. And in the town XYZ, every month, the system is finding that people dispose of 1 million bottles of Coca-Cola Vanilla Edition in town XYZ. I can go to Coca-Cola and say, Coca-Cola, I've been consistently finding 1 million per month bottles of your Coca-Cola Vanilla Edition in this town. You want to know which town it is? Coca-Cola may say, no, not interested. Or Coca-Cola may say, yes, I'm interested because I want to know exactly where I'm selling. It could happen that this town, I wasn't selling there because I thought this town will not be the appropriate place. Well, apparently I was wrong. Or Coca-Cola may say, not interested. And being my data, I can go to Pepsi-Cola and say, Pepsi-Cola, do you have a Pepsi-Cola Vanilla Edition? Yes, I do. It competes directly with Coca-Cola Vanilla Edition. You want to know where Coca-Cola is selling? You can go to Coca-Cola and ask, or you can ask me, and I will provide you that data.
No, all good, all clear. So it's somewhat MarTech solution. May I ask, how do you deal with GDPR here, compliance?
So we don't provide any personal data to any of these companies. So when I say aggregated data, there is no PII data moving across. They extract data in a format which allows them to look at it geographically based and en masse at this point. I mean, because of GDPR, we cannot hand out any personal information for users. And when users sign up, it's very clear in that process of registration what we're actually using their data for. And that's why they're receiving the points for recycling as well. So we've made that connection for the users, so that's crystal clear. But yes, we can't get down to household specific data because that crosses the line from a GDPR perspective. But these brands don't need to know that. They need to know within sort of smaller, when you think about an IP node, they would look at it from that sort of level in terms of size and still be able to pull out some pretty interesting business intelligence from the data itself.
Yeah, we provide 4 data: age, gender, geolocation, time and date of disposal. And companies go to corp.stipra.com, they create a campaign, and they're able to see on real time on a map each time a product is disposed, and they click on it and they'll see age, gender, time and date, and the geolocation of when that product was disposed. And they're able to export it in CSV file to compare it with the regular sales data, because we provide post-sales data. And this is the beauty of it, that they are able, from matching their regular sales data with our post-sales data, they are able, for example, to avoid customer churn for a new product.
All clear.
And one thing to clarify as well, because I talked with the team previously, you guys also have a scanning app for consumers, so it doesn't have to be with the trash can.
That's exactly right. That's where the volume play is. The app is the volume play. That's what we're scaling, is the app.
The trash can is just a prototype. At one point, we would like to make it happen, but right now we need to focus on what we already have, which is working great, which is the app.